Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hmm. I got a question for you.
You have a question for me?
Yeah, like last week I had a question for you.
Uh-huh.
I got another question for you.
Uh-huh.
Why do you think men treat their wives so badly? Why do they resort to that?
Why do men treat their wives badly?
What? Yeah, some. Let me
Some?
put that in there. Some. Let me prefix that with some. Why some men treat their wives badly?
There's a lot of reasons why,
Mm-hmm.
I believe, but in my mind, I have one general reason, which I think will cover or subsume on all the other reasons under it.
Mm.
And I think it has a lot to do with our upbringing as men.
Mm.
The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Qulu mauludun yuladu ala fitra, fa abawahu yuhawidanihi, aw yunasiranihi, aw yumajisanihi." He said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that every child is born natural or upon fitra. And then the next part of the statement is, it is his parents that make him a Jew, Christian, or fire worshiper. And the beautiful thing or the amazing thing about that particular hadith is he conjuncted those two sentences together with the atif, which is fa. And fa, you can translate is in this sense as like therefore. But they call this particular type of fa as-sababiyya, which means it's a causative fa. So in other words, the natural state of a child is fitra, the natural disposition, right? A cause to that natural disposition is caused by the parents. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Fa abawahu." It is his parents that alter or change the fitra from what's natural to that person being a Jew, Christian, or fire worshiper. So you can trace a lot of our behavior in adulthood to how we were raised, how we were brought up. And this is well known in psychiatry. In the old days, when you went to see a psychiatrist, the first thing they wanted you to do, they didn't just go right after whatever caused you to come see them. What they did was they tried to get you to talk about your childhood. How was it like growing up? Tell me about your childhood. Because they know that the way you were brought up in your formative years will determine how you act later on in life. Now I'm saying all of that to say, to answer your question, but why some men treat their wives badly. The answer to that is some of them don't have good experiences with their mother. For example, think about a child who grows up in a household and his mother, for example, is a hoe. I literally had a friend growing up. His mother was literally a hoe. She was a prostitute. And we all knew it. Everybody knew it.
He knew it?
He knew it. The whole block knew it. As little kids growing up, we knew it. And you know, kids, we ranking on each other, or busting, or whatever you called it in your hood. And a lot of times, he would be quiet when we were ranking on each other. Then it'd be like, "Yo, why you so quiet, yo?" Now, cool. We know why you quiet, because you don't want us to talk about your moms. We're going to talk about her anyway, right? You know, stuff like that. And so, but just imagine a young man being brought up in a house, seeing his mother be intimate with many different men.
That's
You could,
traumatizing.
yeah, you can deny it all you want, but that person is going to have an outlook, a negative outlook on women.
Mm-hmm.
And every child doesn't react to the upbringing the same way. This is why you can have several children growing up in the same household. Each of them will manifest the dysfunction in that family differently.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they grew up in the same house, same parents, or same lack of parents, or whatever the situation. So a lot of brothers, they seen their mothers in compromising situations.
Hmm.
So in their subconscious, even though they may not be conscious of it, in their mind, using the example that I gave, all women is hoes.
Hmm.
So my mother. Or, for example, a lot of women, they, when they had children, they dumped the children off on their grandparents. And we're not talking about like in traditional society where the whole family raises a child. No. Here, the mother, for example, like we said, a lot of young mothers, they dump the child off with the grandmother or an aunt or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so the child, he may have in his subconscious that I can't never trust a woman. She's always going to abandon me.
Mm.
Or so again, to answer your question, I believe that the reason why a lot of brothers may treat women in less than honorable ways is a reflection of what he saw or his reaction to some type of trauma growing up. Like for me, like my parents are still together. You already know that. But my parents are still together. I've never seen my mother flirt with another man. I'm not just saying it because we want to air or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I never seen her flirt with another. I seen men flirt with her when I was a little child.
Mm-hmm.
If you was to have me to swear by a law or swear in a court of law, I cannot recall my mother cheating or doing anything that would lead to cheating on my father.
No.
Now, in me, I think that early on in life, that made me a little naive to women. Because growing up like that, that wasn't even a conversation. So maybe in my mind, I think, no, if she says she's loyal, she's loyal. So, but that's why I believe a lot of men do that. Not every situation, but a lot. I think it has to do with their upbringing and their subconscious opinion of their mother. And psychiatrists, I'm sure they probably changed the name of it now, but they used to have a thing called the family system, where you have children that are grow up in a household, and they react, as I said, to the dysfunction. And according to their theory, all families is dysfunctional. It's just a matter of how intense is the dysfunction, because no family's perfect. Right. So in their mind, every family is dysfunctional. So they used to have a thing called the scapegoat child. Like the scapegoat child is the child in the family that gets blamed for everything, even though he or she didn't do anything wrong. And so that child was treated as a scapegoat. And so that child grows up with that mentality. I get blamed for everything anyway. It's my fault. They used to have a child. He's the mascot child. This is the child that overperforms. He grows up in the same household with the scapegoat child, but this the child who does good in school. He plays 2 or 3 different sports. He's highly intellectual and all of that, and he's basically hiding the dysfunction of the family. And so, in a lot of those children, they usually at some point in their life they fizzle out because they get tired of putting up this front for the family. And so you got more and more and more examples of that. And so the psychiatrists had all these things, conveniently put in a nice little system. But this is, again, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam already informed us of this when he said, "Kulu maludin yulad ala fitr." And this is why it's important that we learn a little bit more about those who we trying to get married to, because the upbringing of the person has a lot to do with how they treat their husband or wife. It's not just simply, did you grow up with your mother and your father? How was it? Do you respect your father? That's all surface stuff. You got to have a little bit more insight. You have to observe certain things. Everything ain't something that you can write on a questionnaire. So this is why I believe a lot of brothers don't treat their wives properly. I believe that a lot of them do want to treat their wives properly. A lot of times they don't know how. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they never seen it before. Mm-hmm. They didn't grow up watching their father and mother interacting. Mm-hmm. A lot of us, and some of us that did grow up watching their parents interact, it wasn't good. Right. Most education takes place by experience and observation. Mm-hmm. But a lot of us, we don't have that good experience, so we have to learn how to treat our husbands and our wives in a classroom. Common sense ain't common no more. I think we should even remove that from the dictionary. Common sense. Mm-hmm. Well, it's common sense that you treat a lady like a lady. No, it's not common sense. Mm-mm. And so we have to learn these things in the classroom from a teacher, and then have that learning reinforced by our sincerity in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mm-hmm. and our love of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam for following his sunnah, etc. And then, inshallah, by doing that and having families where we raise our children, then our children will watch us, and mm-hmm. then, like that. So, alhamdulillah. Mm-hmm. Answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ورضي الله تعالى عن سادة التابعين وعلماء العاملين وأئمة الأربعة المجتهدين ومقلدين إلى يوم الدين أما بعد السلام عليكم.
Wa alaikum salam to the big captain. Assalamu alaikum.
Imani, assalamu alaikum. Anisa, listening on Mixler. Alhamdulillah.
Wa alaikum salam to the big captain. Sister Fatima.
On Facebook.
Hey family, alhamdulillah. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Anan. I hope I'm saying your right, sis. Welcome. If I'm not pronouncing it right, type it in on how I'm supposed to pronounce it. Thank you for joining us, everyone.
Sheikh Drami, alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum.
Alhamdulillah, let me see here. Alhamdulillah. Khalil, Wasim.
Assalamu alaikum to all of y'all.
Najla, alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for watching, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
We got a special show for you tonight.
Special show?
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Hello, Lydia.
Hello, Lydia. Thanks for joining us. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, we got a special show.
Lydia. I grew up with a girl named Lydia. Remember I was just mentioning a guy I grew up with? His mm-hmm. mother was literally a prostitute? Mm-hmm. He lived across the street from me. Uh-huh. The house next to him, a girl named Lydia lived.
Oh, okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. A couple of things I wanted to mention before we started. Mm-hmm. One was, alhamdulillah, Allah allowed the Irma to pass over. I didn't hear anything about Jose and if it made any devastation, but there's an island, I forgot the name of the island. Allah allowed the storm to wipe everything out of there. So whoever lives there or have lived there and that they don't have the funds to rebuild, they're going to have to transplant themselves somewhere else.
Wow.
Can you imagine that, being uprooted and you know, some of us, we have the mindset, I'm going to be here forever. Nothing's going to change my situation. And I'll always do things to prove to us or to show us that nothing is permanent. Do not get too comfortable. Don't even get comfortable with your life, because it's not permanent. It's, you know, you're going to lose it one day. You know, so it was just, you know, it's mind blowing, and it awakens us. Should awaken us that, you know, things are always changing. Don't be, you know, don't be still. You got to be fluid. You got to be malleable. You know, things that you've learned in the past may not be applicable now, you know, or have any, you know, bearings.
They're talking about another storm. I think the name was Maria.
Maria. So it been an L. So who was L?
L.
Yeah, because it was Jose. J, K, and L. Okay, Kadia or something was in the Gulf.
Okay. Oh, that's the way they do it?
Alphabetical order, right. So, okay, so was Kadia, right. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but Kadia was Katia. I'm probably jacking up the name. But then it was Jose. It was Jose, then Kadia, and then, so L is what? What you say?
L?
Uh-huh.
I didn't say nothing about no
You said L. Maria. Okay,
Yeah.
so I was asking what was L, so I'm going to look that up. So
I didn't catch the whole. I was listening to the news today, and people were talking about Maria, and they say it's a major storm. Right now, it's a Category 3 hurricane. I don't know where it's at now. I was distracted, but they was talking a lot about Puerto Rico.
Subhanallah. So prayers are with them. Prayers are with those who's trying to rebuild and get themselves together. You know, may Allah reward all those that are, you know, performing humanitarian efforts. You know, trying to get the food out there, clothing, you know, somewhere to sleep. Oh, there's one thing I wanted to mention. Like, people ain't got no kind of qualms. Like, they don't know when to, like, stop.
What do you mean?
I'm going to tell you in a minute. It was a video I saw. It was in, I forgot where it was in, but it was a place that sheltered some of the evacuees, right? And it, you know, when they shelter you, it's like in an open space, and they have beds all over the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So somebody recorded somebody having sex in the middle of the place, and it was during the day. They was on one of the beds, and you could tell what they were doing. They were humping. And it was like, look at them, look at, you know, they showing the cam. They was under the covers, but you saw and it was children around. Like, you ain't got no kind of class, no kind of, like, no indication that, listen, you are trying to come to safety and, you know, get your mind, you know, wrapped around the current situation, and on the thing on your mind is sex. Like, that should be the last thing on your mind during that thing. But for some people, it didn't stop them. But
it's one of the signs of the last day.
Subhanallah.
People having sex in public.
Right. And it was just like, the woman was looking around. She had a shower cap on her head. Was looking around, see if anybody looking. You in the middle of the daggone floor. Like, come on now. Subhanallah. So, whew. Anyway, second thing I wanted to mention was Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, you know, call himself getting ahead of the horse, trying to, you know, control the damage that may come his way by admitting that he cheated on his current wife. And what's so crazy, if you know his history, he cheated on his current wife. He cheated with his ex-wife with the current wife that he has. That's his pattern. So he's like, this person that I got with, basically, I'm not trying to, you know, they're not going to get paid off of my situation. So I'm just going to put it out there. And he felt like, because he putting it out there, that's going to stop them from, you know, asking for monetary damages. It seemed to me like he's just, like, bragging about it. Like, he's not really sincere about it. You know?
I don't know. I seen his name, you know, trending and all that on social media. I didn't know what it was until you just told me.
SubhanAllah. So, you know, what did he think? Well, what did his wife think? His current wife thought her situation was going to be any different, you know, based on how they got together. You don't think that he was going to be going to betray you, you know, because you betrayed his ex-wife.
Mm-hmm.
He betrayed his ex-wife. So what makes you think your situation was safe from that?
Mm-hmm.
How you started thing, that's how it's going to be for all situations, unless Allah, you know, decide to make it better and ask the person, you know, answer the person's tawbah if they made tawbah for it. But that is their sunnah. That's what they're known for, and they not really trying to stop.
Assalamu alaikum, Hassan Ali.
Wa alaikum salam to the bikatu. Welcome, welcome. So it's just interesting that people engage in certain behaviors and don't even think about the consequences or even think that it will happen to them. You know, that thing is going to come back on them later on.
That's deep, because that's really is a good way to segue our topic for tonight.
Right.
Treachery, khiyana, you say it in Arabic.
Khiyana.
The destroyer of relationships.
Hmm.
Before I get into it, give them our call-in numbers.
Our call-in numbers are 412-567-3030. Let me type it out. See if I can type it in. 412-567-3030.
I'll put it in the mixer here.
That is our call-in numbers. Our call-in number. Give us a call.
Questions, comments, want to give a shout out, call in.
Alhamdulillah. Okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Khiyana, treachery.
Mm-hmm.
Khiyana, or treachery, is actually like the opposite of loyalty. And it's actually one of the characteristics of nifaq, or hypocrisy. You know, in the hadith when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ayatul munafiq thalath," the signs of a hypocrite are three: when he speaks, he lies; when he makes a promise, he breaks it; وَإِذَا تُؤْمِنَ خَانَ, and when he is entrusted, he betrays. So a good translation for khiyana is like betrayal, treachery. What else I wrote down? Deceit, double crossing, disloyal. All of these things, or English words, are manifestations of khiyana, or treachery, which is not a characteristic of a believer. It's a characteristic of a munafiq, or a hypocrite. And treachery, or khiyana, is one of the main things. In my mind, I think it's the main thing that breaks up relationships. You don't believe me? Go to your social media right now and just go down your timeline and make a mental note of everybody that's talking bad about their husband or wife, or ex-husband or ex-wife or ex-friend or whatever. And what is the complaint? They trusted them with something and they violated. They were snakes. That's another synonym for khiyana, like snake-like behavior. So I'm just trying to give you a definition, because a lot of times when you read an English translation of that hadith on hypocrites, it's not really clear the way they translate it. When he speaks, he lies. He makes a promise, he breaks it. He trusts, he violates the trust. And like, hold up. Well, what's the difference between when he makes a promise and he breaks it, and when he trusts with something, he violates? It's almost, sometimes the way they translate it, it's almost like you're saying the same thing twice. No. When you make a promise and you break it, is like when you promise somebody something, you make an oath, a wa'ad, as it says in Arabic. You break it.
Right.
You say you're going to do something, you don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Say you're going to be somewhere, you're not there. You say you're going to, whatever. And you consciously and purposely don't do what you said you were going to do. Khiyana, the opposite of amana.
Mm-hmm.
Amana is a trust.
Right, amana. Mm-hmm.
Like from the word iman, faith.
Right.
That's why faithful. He was faithful. Khiyana is the opposite. Is the opposite of that. Trustworthy, untrustworthy. Can't trust him.
Right.
Can't trust her. That is the thing that breaks up relationships. And people fail to realize that. They think, well, I didn't steal nothing from her. Well, I didn't, I didn't hit her, whatever. No, you don't understand. She trusted you with something, and you violated that. It don't have to be something tangible. It's funny because, I forgot how long ago, but not too long ago, the movie on Tupac came out. So, everybody's, reliving the history and suspect who killed him and, who shot him the first time and all that. And I've been watching all these interviews and stuff. And one of the things, even people that spoke negatively about Tupac, the one thing that even those people said about him is that he was extremely loyal. If he was with you, he was with you. And according to some people, they say that some people played on that. They knew that about him, and so they used that to their own advantage. So being loyal is the opposite of being treacherous. So again, I want to drive that point home. You want to jump in?
Well, I wanted to go back to when you were saying about the brother trying to justify, saying, well, I didn't hit her, but your words cut like a knife. You spoke down to her. She, you're her husband, so she is expecting you to be caring, protecting her honor. She expects you to be a certain way towards her. Unlike somebody like just on the street or somebody, that just, she expects more from you, and for you to justify why you saying it or lessen the blow, it's still a blow.
Right.
And we got to watch out how, we talk to each other, and back to, like you're saying, how you grew up. Some brothers, like you said, didn't have a good relationship with their mother. And so they have a disdain for mothers. And so, disdain for women, period. So they don't treat them they treat them any kind of way. And if it wasn't for sex, in my opinion, they wouldn't deal with women. It'll just be for that. And you can see that. Some men just deal with women for that. And they'll get the companionship from their homeboys. Right. They hang out with them all the time. But when it comes to that, he'll, spread his seeds and then, bounce or what have you.
That's deep. I agree with you because many men, they don't expect loyalty. Keyword expect. They don't expect loyalty from their women.
Right.
They assume that their women is going to be treacherous.
Right. One day she going to do something.
And that's why there's even been songs made and chorus jingles in these songs indicating that. We don't love them hoes. Right?
Right.
Because they expect their women to be treacherous. But what a lot of those men, a lot of those brothers, they don't expect their homeboys to be treacherous. And I expect that from her. I didn't expect that from you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it be so that bond be so deep that if the girl was to do something with that homeboy,
right,
he'll roll with the homeboy.
Right.
And dump the girl.
Yep.
Now explain that. The psychology behind that. He mess with her, but he gonna roll with him like, you know what? This ain't gonna mess up what we got. Let's just go ahead. especially if it's like a brother, like a blood brother.
Mm.
You see that.
Right.
Like, I've seen that. I've seen a show where the brothers slept with the same woman.
Uh-huh.
She had children, and they was on the show trying to figure out who the daddy of these children.
Right.
And when it came out who was the father, the brother was like, "It's all good. You still my brother." You know, like it was just cool. And she was like steaming.
Mm-hmm.
And these brothers were at that. It was later in life because these children were grown.
Right.
They wanted to establish relationships with the children that they fathered with this woman, like leaving her out, like
right.
kick her to the curb. It was just funny. So what's the psychology behind that? As far as, you know, it doesn't mess up the relationship between the one that violated them, because they actually violated them too.
Because the man has protected his heart by means of not trusting the woman. In other words, the woman is just there for pleasure. Mm-hmm. I don't trust her. I expect she's going to flip. Mm. So, you know, it's only a matter of time.
So he constantly know that because he's not investing in that situation.
Exactly. He invested in a relationship with his homeboy, his partner.
SubhanAllah. So he's kind of like sabotaging it on purpose.
And in his mind,
SubhanAllah.
In his mind, that's like if you have a plate of food,
mm-hmm.
and you eating, and I come and I don't say nothing. I just reach in your plate and just grab your fries. Because we brothers, it's cool. You expect that.
Right.
And a lot of dudes' mind, they women is like that.
Mm.
This my girl, this my wife, this my shorty. I'm hitting that. Oh, you hit that too? Man, you could at least told her, nigga.
Right.
Right. All right, we cool. Like me, I don't understand that mentality, but a lot of people, that's...
Right. SubhanAllah. It's sad.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah.
So, alhamdulillah. And so, let's get into some examples of how treachery destroys relationships. Let's make it relevant. Mm-hmm. When you're married to someone, or you're in a relationship with someone, Muslims, that relationship means marriage. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be anything else. When you're in that relationship, you trust that person to protect their private parts and save it only for you.
Right.
That's understood. You're not going to have intimacy with anyone else except me.
Right.
Marriage, that's what's called chastity. Mm-hmm. Or being a muhsin or a chaste person in Islam.
Okay.
So that when that trust is not there, or when that trust is violated, then that destroys the relationship. How can you cheated on me?
Right.
Well, they were treacherous on you. They took a vow to be with you in the realm of marriage, and that person was treacherous in that. You trusted them to protect their private parts, and they did not do it. Another trust that is violated and destroys relationships, especially in marriage, is the family secrets. The family secrets. What do I mean? Every family has secrets. Not necessarily anything negative. Mm-hmm. Just stuff that's supposed to stay inside the house.
Right.
And you tell other people. You should not betray the family. You should not betray the family, like in the movie The Godfather. What am I going to say, you know?
As far as betrayal?
Yeah.
The brother, I don't know if he was an older brother.
All right. Before you continue, on Mixler, can you hear us good? We want to make sure that our audio is good. Let us know if you can hear us. Anybody listening on Facebook and Mixler, let us know if you can hear us. Inshallah.
Give a heart or something.
Yeah, give us some indication.
Yeah.
One, like you said, the brother Fredro, whatever.
Right.
Fred, right? He didn't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Alhamdulillah, Imani hears us clearly.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
He did not understand that.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking with rival mafia families, and he's the son of Don Corleone, right? And he don't get it. And that's why later on, you know, Al Pacino, his younger brother, ends up killing him, taking him for a nice boat ride.
And what got him? What got him? His mouth. His
mouth. When it was in Cuba.
Right.
Yeah.
He was talking.
Do you know? No, I don't know him. Yeah, he was Johnny Ola.
Right. Running that mouth.
He was treacherous. Some people may discount it and be like, no, he was just a buffoon. He didn't understand. And that was treachery.
Right, there was a rule of law when you dealing in those circles.
Hassan Ali said, never go against the family. Correct.
Right.
He was treacherous. That was khiyana.
Right.
Governments understand this, including Islam.
Mm-hmm.
They call it treason. If you look up khiyana in the Hansware Dictionary, that's there. Treason.
Mm-hmm. Giving up secret.
That's a capital punishment even in Islam.
Subhanallah.
Disloyalty to the emirate, the khilafah, the Jamaa'ah. I'll give you one example. I'm not going to narrate the whole story, but you know the story of Hatib ibn Abi Balta, who's the one who, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was planning to invade Mecca, it was right before the conquest of Mecca. Hatib had family in Mecca, and he was weak, poor. He didn't have any protection for his family there. So in his logic, he was going to send a letter warning the Quraysh that the Prophet ﷺ was going to attack them, in the hopes that in exchange, the Quraysh will protect his family, being that he snitched. He gave us some information. Right?
Right.
The Prophet ﷺ was informed about that from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Jibril. The Prophet ﷺ summoned the Sahaba, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Miqdad ibn Aswad, and some others I don't know. And I seen Malik Robinson just log in, so he might be able to mention some of the other Sahaba I'm forgetting. Right? But it was at least 3 of them.
Right.
And the Prophet ﷺ told them, go and catch up to this woman. There's a woman that's carrying a message from Hatib, and she's going to have a letter for the Quraysh. You're going to keep riding. You're going to catch up with her at such and such point. He told them what was going to happen, and they caught up with her, and she denied having a letter. Long story short, Ali pulled out his sword. Was like, listen, you know, the Prophet ﷺ is not a liar.
Right.
Where is the letter?
Right.
And according to some narrations, she had the letter tucked in her hair. Like she had her hair up and she had it in her hair, and she pulled it out, gave it to them. They brought the letter back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam summoned Hatib and asked him, "What is this?" And he said, "O Messenger of Allah, do not blame me, or I'm not guilty of disbelief, or not believing in you or Allah or Islam, but I just feared," and he said what I just mentioned. Right. That I feared my family in Mecca, and I was hoping that I can snitch and right. Snitch, and they in exchange they would protect my family. Malik said, I can only think of Ali and Miqdad also. Alhamdulillah. And so I want to say Talha ibn Ubaidullah, but I'm not sure. Anyway. What was it? So, when he gave his excuse, Umar ibn al-Khattab asked for permission to kill him. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he didn't check Umar for saying that. He didn't say, no, you can't kill him, he's a Muslim. He said, no. He reminded him that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had forgiven all of the sins of all the Sahaba who participated in the Battle of Badr. He retroactively, if that's the right word, retroactively in the future, right? All the sins they may do.
Right.
And because Hatib participated in the Battle of Badr, that's what saved his life.
Right.
The whole reason why I mentioned that story is because that was khiyana, that was treachery what he did. He was disloyal. You know, and the punishment for that in Islam is death, just like the punishment for that in this country. I forgot what the name of the person is, but there's a transvestite, a trans something. I think they went from being a man to a woman or a woman to a man. I forgot, but this person was in the military and they stole some files, and I think they sent it to WikiLeaks.
Oh, that was a transvestite?
Yes.
Snowden?
No, not Edward Snowden. No.
Snowden?
No.
Somebody else?
Somebody else. It was somebody that was in the military.
Oh.
They stole some information or whatever, and they went to prison for it. And Obama gave them a pardon. A lot of people upset because they consider that treason.
Right.
That person should be dead, not given a pardon.
Right, okay.
You understand? So the point I'm making is that's khiyana. All of that is treachery.
Right.
Governments understand this. It's the same thing with families. Families have to be that way. Malcolm said that in the message to the grassroots. He was talking about, like, black people. When we have differences and arguments with each other, you shouldn't get out in the street. No, you go in the house.
Right.
Because his point was, like, don't let the white man into your argument.
Right. Let them know what's going on so they can benefit.
Exactly.
I forgot what the word I wanted to say, but you didn't want them to gain some kind of leeway.
Exactly.
Because they know that information. They wouldn't normally know that if you had not announced it out. Wow.
You don't tell people outside of your family or your brotherhood or your Jamaa'ah or what's going on inside, because you letting your enemies know where the weakness is and where the rifts are.
Right.
Even the advice that Umar ibn al-Khattab gave to the soldiers that was fighting against the Romans in the Sham, because there was a lot of dignitaries and emissaries. They was negotiating, just like ambassadors. Umar ibn al-Khattab gave instructions to them that when they come to your encampments, let them see the strongest of people. In other words, don't let them catch you slipping.
Right.
Because they are there to negotiate peace or whatever, but they also watching.
Right. See
looking
what they
for weaknesses.
Right. See what they up against. Like, okay, if we really got to go do this, let's see what, how strong they are. And if it's weak, they're like, oh, we don't need to be working out nothing. We got this. Right.
Or I could see that person right there. He's a little bit dissatisfied because of such and such and so we can work with him.
Right, go get in his ear. And that's the story about anything. Infiltrating governments, organizations, and things like that. They see that weak link and they bargain with that person and say, hey, I see that, you ain't getting your rights. Like they just really feed into it. They make it look like
Malik said the other side was Zubair ibn al-Awwam.
And so they make it sweet for them, like, if you come with us, we got you. We got you. All we need is X, Y, Z. Exactly. And that's the only way that a marriage, anything can be infiltrated, is that weak link. And you got to have that united front, even with the families.
Even in the streets, negative, like criminal enterprises, right? Like nowadays, people don't know the difference between a snitch and someone that calls the police. Right.
A witness,
right?
Right.
If me and you do a crime together, it's understood that we crimies. Or we used to call it, right? If I get caught, I'm not supposed to say, well, y'all didn't catch me, but I don't think I could do all this time. Samira was there too. I'm not supposed to say that, right?
Right.
But because we down together.
Right. So that's snitching. Right.
If me and you do a crime, we rob somebody. We go rob a store.
Right.
And the store owner calls the police. that person's not snitching. He's a civilian. He not following outlaws.
Right.
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 But on a street level, again, I'm trying to drive this point home about what treachery is. A snitch is a treacherous. He's betrayer. The definition of either tukmina kana. When you trust him with something, he betrays. Mm-hmm. That the snitch is a betrayer.
Right. You can't trust him.
Because you're both criminals.
Right.
How are you going to cooperate? We
both doing something. Right. We equally, liable.
That person is not a snitch. He's not a criminal.
Mm-mm.
He's doing what he's supposed to do. Call the police.
Right.
Right? Him not calling the police is treacherous. He's supposed to be a law-abiding citizen, right?
Right.
He's supposed to uphold the law.
Right.
The law was broken against him. He's supposed to call the police.
Right.
Right. But the two criminals is understood.
Mm-hmm.
You get arrested, keep your mouth shut.
Right.
But he's treacherous. It's khiyana.
Mm-hmm.
And so, back to the point as far as trusting family. You're not supposed to let the family secrets out. Going back to the movie The Godfather. Remember the other brother? What was his name? The one that got killed. He got shot up at the toll plaza.
About him. I forgot, yeah.
They was negotiating with one of the other families early on,
mm-hmm.
and he wanted to do the deal.
Right.
And he spoke out of turn. Don't mind us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a little bit anxious, a little bit.
Right.
But afterwards, he strongly rebuked him. Don't never let nobody know what's on your mind.
Right.
Don't go against the family.
Right.
Schooling them. They're
mm-hmm.
like, no. That's treachery. You can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Your family has to be the same way.
That's why as a couple,
mm-hmm.
y'all might have a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all might not even be speaking.
Right.
But when you out in public, you holding hands, you talking, you act like nothing is going on because you don't want the people to see what's happening in the home. And it may be just something temporary. Yeah, just going through stuff. Because the minute that you let people know outside that, know what's going on, y'all going through stuff,
that's
what happens?
That's a way for the shaitan and his minions to get in.
Right, and you letting them in, then you can't blame them to have opinions and things to say about your situation and say this is something over and over again. And over again, you let people know what's going on your things. Like, well, you said that 10 times ago. That this was happening, and then you get an attitude because somebody's stating their opinion about your situation. Like, why are you in it? Either you're going to be in it or stop complaining. Like, you must you know what I mean?
Just like I give you an example, right?
Mm-hmm. Walaikum salam to Barakatuh, Sister Chanel. Thank you for joining us.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
I give you an example of what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take something that's, I don't know. A sister leaves her underwear hanging in the bathroom. Or the brother, he don't flush the toilet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's use that. The brother, he don't flush the toilet.
Right.
Wife comes in the bathroom, this old gruesome looking thing staring up at you out the toilet, right?
Right.
Now, the sister, she complains about that. Maybe she gets on Facebook. You know how the sisters do. Sisters. Holler at me. How would you feel if you came home one day and there was this old beastie, gruesome looking thing staring up at you at the toilet, and you know it was your husband? Let me know, right? and then the brother goes to the bastion, right? Mm-hmm. He don't know that sisters from all over the planet had a backbiting fest against him because he don't like to flush the toilet. Then the imam, he see the post. And then on Juma, he gives a khutbah. And brothers, you gotta treat your wife right. You gotta flush the toilet when you use the bathroom. And what he say, he looked right at the brother, right? Brothers is trifling. Your wife don't need to smell that, right? How the brother gonna be looking, right? I'm being comical,
right?
Talking about like turds in the toilet and stuff, right? But like, you told the imam that. I ain't tell him nothing.
Right.
You investigate. You said on Facebook?
Yeah, I told the world.
Asking for a friend. You ain't asking for a friend. You asking for yourself. Right? And so that's treachery.
Mm-hmm. People don't need to know that.
You being treacherous just so you can get 50 comments and 10 likes on your stat.
Like that supposed to make you look good. That make you look like doo-doo. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
SubhanAllah.
That's treachery. That's going on in your house.
Right.
You leave it in your house. And some sisters, for example, are more treacherous than that. Like, a sister will be married to a brother and will come to the imam and be like, Imam, I need to talk to you. I'm having problems with my marriage. What's the problem, sister? I don't know how to say this, and they try to pretend like they're being bashful for a minute. My husband stinks in bed, right? And I know of some sisters that go into detail about how he no good in bed. And some of us imams, we indulge it. Oh yeah, sister? What else? Inshallah, sister. Right? Oh, you know, that's treachery. You have to, because sometimes, a lot of times, especially sisters, brothers do it too now because men are imitating women now. A lot of times, sister don't want a solution to the problem. They want to embarrass the husband.
Right.
And so, we all know that's the quickest way to embarrass a dude in the street. Oh, that's why you 2 minutes. That's why you this small, right? And then you got sisters. I seen stats. I don't know what it was. It was I don't know, on my timeline. It was like 1 week. I just kept seeing stat after stat with all these sisters, you know, talking about, you know how they put the little emoji with the eggplant and all that. And like the sisters going long stats, you know, like, yeah, brothers don't be having nothing. And then, yeah, girl, I had my ex-husband. Woo! You like, I like subhanallah. The next day I go online, I like subhanallah. I said, I hope brothers is taking notice. Don't marry these sisters. Ain't nothing pious about these sisters, right? Somebody with any type
Sister Sharnice, thank you for joining us.
Any sister with any type of hayah won't even involve themselves in that type of conversation. Right. Especially on social media or whatever.
Right.
That's treachery.
Exactly. Now, if you need help in that area, there's appropriate, action that can take place with that. You go to a counselor, whatever. It might be something, physical that's happening. You know, something that's going on. But taking it to the book is not going to help the situation. You're actually doing more harm than good. And it's also a sign of you trying to advertise yourself. Look, he ain't taking care of this right here. So if it's she not saying it outright. If you know how to handle it, know how to put it down. Hint, hint. That's what you're saying.
I'm about to get up out this situation, and I'm kind of backed up. I got a lot of good loving I need to release. Right.
Shoot, you brother don't know how to take care. They wise. They don't know how to handle all this. So, hint, hint.
Yeah.
Oh, the lie.
And did I say that? I didn't get to that yet. It's kind of like the same thing. But the next thing I have down is like trust with sins or shortcomings. It's another thing that destroys relationships. Every one of us have sins. There's nobody that's perfect.
Right.
If you married to somebody, you definitely going to see some of those sins.
Right.
Some of us, we expose the sins or the shortcomings of our husband or wife. The deep thing about it is, and I'm seeing a few people that's watching, alhamdulillah, that's familiar with the Ihya Sunnah wa Ihmad al-Bid'ah, the revival of the Sunnah and the destruction of innovation, that was written by Sheikh Uthman and Fodio, where he quotes from the Muwatta of Imam Malik, where he mentions that whoever exposes the sins of his brother, Allah will expose his sins, even if it's in the recesses of his house. So you have treachery even with regards to each other's sins. Like you expose his sins. You don't know. You just set the stage to have your own sins revealed. And I'm not going to mention the name because I'm not trying to, but everybody's talking about, that other group of Muslims. They just having it out. They exposing each other's sins. Like, wow, you did that sin. Well, I did that sin. You did that sin too. And they exposing each other's sins and all that kind of stuff. Why? They expose because, they exposing each other's sins. So it's never going to stop. You know?
SubhanAllah.
And so that's one thing that destroys relationships.
Another thing,
Mm-hmm.
the time that sin is exposed is when y'all not cool. It was all right while it was good. And it benefits you at the time.
Yeah.
Right? But when y'all not cool no more, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And why is it like that? Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Then shut your mouth later when things start happening.
Yeah.
If y'all split up, shut your mouth still, because it's not going to benefit anybody.
Exactly.
And that shows the treachery in you, that you wasn't really loyal to that person, because as soon as you had the opportunity, you letting them know about themselves, you know. And I don't have real trust with somebody like that. You was cool before, now you want to tell me what they did. I don't want to know now. You know, like you trying to change my opinion of that person by doing that. Like, what are you trying to do?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, I always have the side eye.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody's telling me something about somebody, but you trying to list all the dirt on them, and it ain't got nothing to do with what the issue is.
Right.
Like, you trying to poison the well. You trying to get me to look at this person negatively,
right.
So when you come with your half-cocked story, that I can believe you.
Right.
You know.
Right. So, subhanAllah. So we need to be better. We need to get better in that, especially in our marriages. You know, if you find that y'all are splitting, don't resort to name calling and exposing that person and things like that. Like, that's not doing anybody no good. Allah tells us to split in kindness. You know,
right.
That's not splitting in kindness.
Nope.
You trying to burn bridges and, take away that person's honor because you mad at the time or what have you. And that's not how Muslims are supposed to, act or carry themselves. So what's another way of khiyana?
Bedroom secrets.
We
already really touched on it before when we talked about family secrets, but I listed that separate. Treachery with bedroom secrets. And the Prophet ﷺ spoke explicitly about this. Like, that's one thing you don't do. But now with Facebook and everything, people is normal. And I don't think I think people intelligence is crippled.
Why you say
asking
that?
For a friend. Everybody know you ain't asking for no friend.
Right.
Everybody that knows you personally know that you're talking about yourself. Or if they know your circle, they just know you spilling the beans on somebody else. You talking about yourself.
Right, and what you going through. SubhanAllah.
It's a different mindset. It's a different mentality. Because people nowadays can't hold water. And people's even doing studies on people. I was listening to a program where people actually studied people. Like this latest generation, they did a study on them, and they couldn't post. Like, for example, they told the people to write something on a piece of paper. Right? I forgot what it was. But then they said, after they told them to write it on a piece of paper, they told them to crumble it up, throw it in the trash. And that whatever you wrote on that paper, you can't never tell anybody again in your life. The people what? Like they couldn't
control themselves.
They couldn't fathom doing that. They felt like if I wrote this thing, I thought this thing, I have to tell everybody. This with this new generation, they feel like if it's in their head, they have to tell everybody.
Let it out.
And so this is, this time period that we living in. People think that everything they see, hear, think, whatever goes on in their bedroom, I gotta tell everybody.
Right. SubhanAllah.
And people do it in subconscious ways. Like people be like, this is my beautiful wife right here, Facebook, she not covered properly, or she have the hand on the hip pose, showing the bubble, and the brother be cool with that, right? Alhamdulillah, marriage is good. Basically he's saying that the sex is great. You see the body right here. Yes. Brothers click yeah. The shaitan waiting. All right. Watch for that breach.
Right. Watch for that post while y'all not doing too good.
Yeah. Waiting. All of a sudden, the wife get a whole bunch of friend requests. Yeah. And they're waiting for that post. What if you hate your husband? Ask it for a friend, right? MashaAllah, ukhti. May Allah make your situation. May Allah rectify your situation. Oh, I'm not talking about me. I know, I'm just saying in general, if it was you, sister, right? You know, you always have, you know, the believer's shoulder to cry on.
Right.
You know, hit me up if you need someone to talk to. Right? You know how we go. Malik says, so a newly married sister can't call her companion the next morning like, girl, let me tell you. Right? And that's what they doing it.
Subhanallah.
Then they feel betrayed because the homegirl going to be like, it's like that?
Mm-hmm.
May Allah bless your union. Then all of a sudden, she first requests a brother.
You looking for another wife?
Yeah. The sister I thought you were trying to get yourself together. I thought you wasn't trying to get married.
Right.
She might not say it, but she was like, oh, man, you changed my mind. You told me about your wedding night. I want some of that. He got room for 3 more.
Yeah, subhanallah. So what's the cure for this khiyana?
Well, I got some more stuff.
Oh, you got some more stuff?
We supposed to trust each other with each other's honor.
Mm-hmm.
The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Kulu Muslim alal Muslim haram, damuhu wa maluhu wa irduhu." Everything from one Muslim to another Muslim is sacred. His blood, property, and his honor.
Mm-hmm.
So we're supposed to be able to trust each other with each other's honor.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost disappeared. That's like almost extinct.
Mm-hmm.
And we see it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you could be cool. We talk every now, however we talk, you know, every day or whatever. Then all of a sudden, you interact with somebody that don't like me.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, you don't talk to me no more.
Mm-hmm.
We was talking on the phone all the time. I call you, you don't answer me.
Mm-hmm.
Or, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Something happened. I may not know what happened, but somebody dishonored me. Somebody said, Naeem stink. Or,
Mm-hmm.
or Naeem, he don't brush his teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Or Naeem, he, you know, such and such and so and so.
Right.
And so, my honor was destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And as Muslims, we're supposed to protect each other's honor.
Right.
Same thing with relationships. In this society, it's almost cultural to dishonor your wife.
Or your husband.
Yeah. She ain't no good, whatever. You know, just like it's almost like a pastime to dishonor your wife. And as Muslims, we shouldn't do that because our honor is sacred.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't. This is why I try to have a zero tolerance, like on my social media, for people who dishonor each other. I've blocked people
Mm-hmm.
and deleted people, not because they disagree with me, because they disrespected me.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to get out of the habit of disrespecting people. I'm not going to just let you disrespect me. Like people just talk all gorilla, greasy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yo, where all this coming from? Like,
Right.
no, I'm not even gonna entertain that. I'm blocking you.
Right.
Because we Muslims, that's basic Islam. We're not supposed to disrespect and trying to embarrass and dishonor each other.
Exactly. And when you're married, you're supposed to uphold that person's honor. You made a vow to honor this person, right? You know, to respect, you know, and things of that nature. And how did it look like you're talking to them in a kind of way, condescending, never have anything good to say. It's, you know, it's always bad. You know, like, come on, where do you draw the line?
That's why I don't deal with disrespectful people, because they're disrespectful and trying to embarrass you,
Mm-hmm.
and you try to be upright with them and try to, you know, dialogue Islamically.
Right.
And the only way to check most of those type of people is you got to get down in the gutter with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I try my nafs be wanting to do it, especially somebody I got dirt on. What? I'm like, man, you one keystroke away from me just blowing your whole spot up. Especially some people, I got documents on some cats, right? For real, you disrespected me. I'm like, you know what? You got it, man.
Right.
I'm not even gonna go there with you.
And when you marry, if it's like a relationship, even if it's a friendship, you don't want to go there with them. You know, like, you know what? That's how you feel. Then I'm gonna let you do you, whatever. You know, go find you another friend. If you don't, you know, respect me as your spouse,
right?
Then you need to go find somebody else. Because I'm not gonna sit there and tolerate your disrespect, because it's not going to stop. The more that you allow somebody to do that, the more they're going to do it and feel like it's okay and you're okay with it. And that's why they do what they do. But if you draw the line, you draw the boundaries and you let them know, hey, I'm not going to tolerate this. You're not going to talk to me like this. You're not going to treat me as such. If that does not change, then we're going to have to do something.
Right.
You don't have to stay in that situation. And it don't make you a punk if you do get out of it.
Right.
You know, it don't make you less of a person that you trying to avoid hurting them back, because we're not supposed to reciprocate how that person treats you.
Right.
You know, that's the bigger person.
You're not supposed to return evil for evil.
Right.
That's the essence of the hadith.
Mm-hmm.
It just left my mind. Like, you know, ahadukum hatta yuhibba li akihi ma yuhibbu li nafsi. None of you believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself.
Right.
I want to be honored and respected. And so I'm going to treat you with honor and respect.
Right.
Right? You know, you're supposed to give what you expect to get.
Right.
Wa alaikum salam, Sister Nimko.
Wa alaikum salam to the Bekatu. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, so you want to be reciprocated, but it's so bad now that people, they don't even respect themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't even expect to get that, and you shouldn't expect them to give it to you either.
That's crazy.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
Your mind is messed up. Yeah. SubhanAllah.
Another trust that we have to uphold is, especially in our situation here in America, is each other's freedom. That's a major type of treachery that takes place now.
SubhanAllah.
Just think about it, right? Me personally, I'm an imam, I'm a husband, I'm a father. Let's say some cat come in the masjid, whatever. He got green card issues. Or he got criminal issues. And they tell him, listen, we can make all these charges disappear. We just need you to, you know, go to your local mosque.
Right.
And, you know, give us somebody. And so this person, thinking about himself, trying to beat some petty charge, or even if it ain't petty, but let me try to set the imam up, right? Imam Naeem, I got a question. What do you think about doing jihad, fi sabilillah, and Muslim brothers, you know, defending ourselves and getting weapons, you know, whatever. Right? When people ask me these questions, you see my face? I'm like,
for real?
Are you serious? Where's your microphone at? Or your phone, right? All our microphones are microphones, right? Like, for real, you're going to ask me that kind of question, for real? Right? A person that does that, he's treacherous, because he don't care that I get locked up and my family's without, you know, a father, a husband, breadwinner, masjid without leadership, and you're going to send the whole community up in an uproar just so he could beat a petty drug charge or a gun charge or get his green card or whatever like that. That's treachery. And that goes back to what we talked about earlier, like with criminal activity, right? That person don't care about you. He's treacherous. I'm going to snitch on you or give you up, or even if you ain't did nothing, I'm going to lie and make it like you did something. Because I don't really care about you. Right. I'm just caring about myself. And I mention this type of thing because this is treachery. And as Muslims living in 2017, 1438, about to be 1439, we have to be conscious about that. Doing that is treacherous. Setting somebody up, especially now, we got so much enmity and hatred amongst each other, different group, or he go to a different masjid, or he from a different Jamaa'ah, or he from a different tariqah, or he from a different minhaj. Shaitan may put in our mind like, it's not really bad that I'm snitching on him because he a deviant anyway.
Right, an enemy. Mm-hmm.
That's treachery. You can't do that.
SubhanAllah.
And so, we have to take each other's freedom and well-being seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Because these people, they don't care about your freedom. They don't even care if it's true.
Right.
They just trying to justify their paychecks and justify their jobs and justify their war on terrorism narrative. They don't care if you innocent. That's always going to go to jail. I don't care.
Right. And say, you talking about freedom and somebody being treacherous. Say that a sister marry a brother. He ain't telling her that he into certain things.
Right.
That somebody's looking for him or what have you. And cops looking for him, people looking for him. And then one day, early Fajr, Subha, people busting up in the house. Yeah. Guns drawn. You don't know nothing.
Yeah.
And you're like, why are they busting up in my house? And then that so-called happened, so later, oh, Habibi, I didn't know how to. You're supposed to be come forth with that information. Mm-hmm. You should have already explained that and see if she wanted to be dealing with you on that level.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Some people can handle it, some people can't. But you didn't give her the opportunity to make that decision to, subject themselves to that. Because now y'all have kids. And when them people bust in your house, they pulling guns on everybody. Mm-hmm. Adults and children.
Nah.
And so you risking everybody freedom at that time. The kids get sent somewhere. You know what I'm saying? You don't know nothing, but because you get connected to the person, you get locked up along with him. And you don't know what's going on, but you probably was indulging in things that you didn't even know you were indulging in.
Exactly.
And that's treachery. That's betrayal. That's the ultimate betrayal.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah.
Nemco said, old school marriage was the best. Mothers used to stay in the house and take care of the family. Fathers work to provide for their family. Nowadays, women become more responsible than the fathers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And wa alaikum salam, Christy Robinson.
Wa alaikum salam to barakatuh. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, so that's messed up.
Very,
that's very messed up.
Yeah.
And we could take it, further. Freedom. On the physical. You marry somebody, you didn't tell them your status. We ain't gotta get tested. I'm good.
Wallahi, I was just about to mention that. And you mentioned Allahu Akbar. I was just about to mention that.
You decide not to disclose that information. Yeah. Here it is.
HIV, so what? They got drugs for that.
Yeah. And later on, you find out that you contracted a disease. That's taking away your freedom for being with other people without having to disclose that. Now you got to tell everybody. Yeah. If you want to be with me, then you're going to have to deal with Yeah. That is betrayal.
Yeah, that's betrayal.
That is betrayal. You betraying that person. You let them know. There may be somebody out there that said, well, I'll still be with you anyway. I know I love you that much. There's somebody that's crazy about that person. And they'll say, okay, I'll be with you anyway. But you give them that opportunity.
That destroys the marriage before it gets started. Because you was disloyal. You was treacherous from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
Brother talking to the sister, whatever. Getting her saying them sweet words. Make her forget all about that. In her mind, she had this list. She had this list. I'm going to ask, we're going to get tested or whatever like that. Mm-hmm. Whatever. But now she's feeling she's all open. Mm-hmm. Forget it. Nah.
He couldn't do that to me. Yeah, he good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. And when people advocate, no, you ain't got to get tested. It ain't wajib. Yes, it's wajib. Because that's my health you talking about. Mm-hmm. Especially if you and it's not even if it's a polygyny situation. It could be a monogamous situation. People be with people and them people be with somebody else. I need to know.
Exactly. Because, and I don't have it in front of me, but the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that the sick person should not go near the one who is not sick. Mm-hmm. In other words, shouldn't be contagious. You know, if you contagious, you shouldn't go around somebody that's not
right.
That's not contagious. In other words, you shouldn't be transmitting stuff if you don't need to transmit it.
Right.
Wa alaikum salam, Abdul Mujib and Umar. Alhamdulillah.
So, you know, it's just, you know, and also not just STDs, certain sicknesses. You might have a cancer or some kind of disease that may cripple you, prevent you from performing, you know, to your, you know, potential, and you don't tell that person. You're being deceptive. You're betraying them because they thinking they're gonna have their spouse is healthy.
Right.
But like I said, there may be somebody that may accept, oh, he's sick or she's sick. You know, I'm willing to, you know, ride with them or what have you. I understand the consequences that they may not be here in the next, 3 years or whatever. And that's good, but give that person a chance.
Hassan Ali said they be fabricating that paperwork too.
Ooh! You know what? Yep.
Yeah. Malik said, what about your so-called imam or leader saying you don't have to tell them if you have something? Subhanallah.
We just addressed that. Like, that's not right.
It's going against the sunnah.
You know, I guess they saying, well, they don't need to, it's a need-to-know basis, you know. Nah, like...
When you find out, if you get married to the person, you need to know.
If you're living in the area, like in America, there are certain cities, they have a high rate of certain diseases.
D.C., Atlanta, that's what HIV.
You know? In the country, period. You know, you need to get tested. You're supposed to tie your camel.
Yeah.
I'd rather tie my camel and, you know, find out there's nothing there than to, you know, play Russian roulette. You know, like, okay, I'm just going to take a chance, you know, bow. That's not right.
And there's cures for every disease.
Yeah.
Despite what the kuffar say.
Yes.
The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ma anzala Allah da'a illa anzala lahu shifa." That Allah does not send down the disease except that He sends down with it its cure. So every disease has a cure.
Right.
Some diseases or sicknesses that they say have no cure, they have cure for it.
Yeah.
And there may be some other diseases that there's a cure for it. We know because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said so, but maybe the people don't know about the cure.
Right.
But every disease has a cure.
Right, and Allah doesn't lie.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah. But you gotta, SubhanAllah, it's happened. SubhanAllah. Really?
There's people who have gotten treated for many diseases, including HIV/AIDS.
Yeah.
And see, it's part of, we get so hooked up into the rhetoric of the kuffar that there be stigmas attached to the disease, so we don't want to tell somebody about it.
Right.
And a lot of times they be misclassifying diseases. Is that a word, misclassify? They'll put a disease under one category, but it really don't belong into that category. And so they try to treat it with that category, but treatment don't work. So they just give you something to mask the symptoms and all that.
Right.
Again, that's why we have to be reconnected with prophetic medicine, and we have to get reconnected with these holistic doctors. And I mean, I think this year and last year, a whole lot of holistic doctors have mysteriously got killed. And everybody talk about Dr. Sebi. You know, there's more than him that just got killed in the last 12 months.
Right.
A whole lot of them.
SubhanAllah.
So,
SubhanAllah. So what's the cure?
The cure, as the Sheikh who said, Sheikh Uthman Danfodio, may Allah envelop him in His mercy.
Amen.
The cure of every disease is in its opposite. This is with regards to diseases of the body as well as diseases of the heart. Because disease in Islam, the same word you use for a disease or a sickness of the body is the same word that you use for a disease or sickness of the heart. So the cure to this disease, treachery, is the opposite. Malik said, Imam will say it's the qadr, don't worry about it. Well, we say like Umar bin al-Khattab said when he didn't want to go into the area of Shem that the plague broke out at, until they brought the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But he was like, we're not going to go into it. And so someone said, you running from the qadr of Allah? Mm-hmm. And Umar said, yeah, we running from the qadr of Allah to the qadr of Allah. That's like what Umar ibn Khattab said. You don't just jump into a situation where you could get contaminated or infected knowingly. You know about it ahead of time. Like, plague, sickness. Should we go in? No, it's the qadr of Allah. Let's go into it. No, that's somebody playing games. That's somebody that's extremely jahil, or they're playing games.
Yeah,
right?
they being deceptive, and that's why, they make it like it used to be. The homosexuals were spreading the AIDS and HIV. It's the straight people. It's the heterosexual that was, because they're so promiscuous. Nobody knows who's what, and they're not informing them, of their status or anything like that.
And think about, let's say, for example, like the example Malik's talking about, like a brother have it. The imam know it. Mm-hmm. He don't tell his sister. The sister get married to the brother. Mm-hmm. She catch it. She get tested. Find out she got it.
And told not to say nothing.
And then she finds out that the imam knew. Mm-hmm. What's going to happen with that sister and her relationship to her husband and the community?
She gonna fall out. She don't want to be Muslim no more. She feel betrayed.
Yeah. And it's sad to say that Malik said that.
It's happened.
That has happened because that's one reason why you see sisters get on social media and they talk trash about imams. These imams ain't no good. Well, that's one perfect example.
I pray for Philly. Pray for all of us.
Yeah.
Shoot, it's crazy.
Yeah. So to the cures. People are treacherous for many reasons. Mm-hmm. So the first thing that I wrote down for a cure is to fear Allah. Because many times people are in compromising situations. They feel pressure. I'm cool with this one, or like I love my wife, but I'm getting pressure from over here, or like we use a situation for like a snitch. Mm-hmm. That's my crimey right there. But the police is offering me 25 years. What I'm going to do? Mm-hmm. Fear Allah.
Right.
Don't fear nothing more than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Right. Don't compromise your deen for no reason.
Right.
Trust in Allah.
Number 2, be honest. Like in the hadith that mentions treachery with regards to hypocrites, the first thing that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said for a sign of a hypocrite is that hadatha talafa. When he speaks, he lies. A lot of times treachery involves lying. Like a lot of times, another form of treachery is like, me and you cool. Mm-hmm. You have an enemy. Right? Right. Y'all enemy for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, I love you for the sake of Allah. We riding together, ain't nobody gonna come between us. And then you see me on Facebook doing a jailhouse pose with your enemy. Wait a minute. This person said he's gonna kill me. This person said this. This person said that.
Mm-hmm. And you know that.
And you know that. And then me, I said I'm cool with you. I ain't said nothing. Mm-hmm. What are you supposed to think?
You would know.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And you may or may not say something. Mm-hmm. Honesty.
Right.
I know you beefing with such and such, but that's my people.
Right. I don't want no beef with the Muslims.
Yeah.
I'm right with you. I'm right with them. Yeah. What have you?
I don't want you thinking nothing. I knew him way before I knew you.
Right.
We cool. Actually, I wish y'all would be, mm-hmm. Y'all would make up, y'all would squash it.
Right.
Matter of fact, I'm going to try to squash it.
Right. Right.
But people don't do that.
No.
People just like,
Don't say
y'all two enemies. They just add gas on it. They throw gas on it. They always on one person's side more than the other. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm cool with them, but I'm more cool with you. Right? So, but the way around that is be honest.
Be honest that whatever relationship you have with somebody, and don't be trying to act like there's nothing there.
Yeah, if it ain't nothing there, why not be honest?
Right. And in the marriage and relationships, be upfront. If you have a problem, speak it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you can't speak to your spouse, then you don't really have a relationship. You don't have a marriage, because communication is important. It's the key, to your longevity. Even if it's something that you may not like, or just something like somebody bringing to your attention that you doing or what have you, at least they told you, and you're not going around thinking everything is cool and what have you.
Right.
So yeah, that's very important. Speaking the truth.
And along with that, don't mislead.
Right.
Because a lot of people, they think, well, I didn't lie, I didn't say anything, but I misled you. Because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man gashana falaysa minna." He who deceives us or misleads us or tricks us, however you want to translate that, is not from among us.
Right.
In another riwayat, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that because a man was selling something. He was selling corn.
Right.
And some of it got wet, which it messed it up.
Right.
So he put the good corn on top. And so the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam reached his hand in a pile and felt the wet corn. He said, "Man, what is this?"
Right.
He said, "Oh, messenger of Allah, some got wet, so I cover it." So the person, is a tajir, he's a businessman. He's going to sell the corn. They're going to think, okay, this corn is good. So when he buys some, he's going to scoop up some of that bad corn with the good corn and sell it to him.
Right.
It's treachery. That's misleading. You're misleading somebody. A lot of people are treacherous by misleading. You trust somebody that they're loyal to you. They have your best interest at hand, and they knowingly mislead you and let you go into a situation that's not beneficial for you. That's harmful to you.
Right.
Don't mislead people. Be straight up.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. Give that person opportunity to figure out whether they want to deal with it or not. Now, if it's a brother that can't control his hands, anybody that know about that need to say something.
Exactly.
Even himself. I got problems with my hands. I got anger. Anger problems. I'm trying to work on it. If you have me, I'll try whatever. That's up to you. I wouldn't go in that situation personally, but at least put it out there. You know what I'm saying? Be honest so that that person know. Oh, okay. At least he's trying.
Like for example, like there was a sister who wanted to marry a brother, and this brother is a known wife beater. I called the sister. I let her know, I'll marry y'all, but he a wife beater. The brother didn't like that I did that. I said it in his face too. She still got married to him. He beat her. They go back and forth 2-3 times. And then they came to me to get remarried. They got divorced. It was, wait a minute. You done divorced her 3 times. I'm not remarrying you. This person, he claimed to be part of our community. Right? It's my master. It's my community. Ride or die. When I went remarry him, he went to the other master that got remarried. Right? And I'm like, I'm free of them. So they got married.
It ain't even valid.
First of all, it ain't valid. The treachery of the other imam, know he come from my community, didn't call me and say, what's up, why they coming over here to get married?
Right.
What's up? I would easily, because he already been married and divorced 3 times.
Right.
She got to get remarried to somebody else and all that, right? They didn't do that.
They didn't do that.
Right? And now he in this situation, and they going back and forth, and he lost his freedom. Dealing with that situation.
Wow.
And so, I'm looking at them, that's your fault. I told her that he beats women. Now she railroaded you in prison. There's a whole bunch of betrayal in that situation. I'm free. I was honest with all of y'all.
Right.
Y'all did what you went. It was treacherous. Went to the other imam. The imam wanted to be treacherous. So like, yeah, good. We give it to Naeem. I'll marry him anyway. All right, go ahead. It's your fault. When Allah asked about this invalid marriage that you did, you're gonna have to answer for that, not me.
Mm-hmm.
So, another thing that I've listed to beware of treachery with the cure, you're asking me, is to know that treachery or khiyana is a characteristic of a hypocrite. And the hypocrites are on the lowest depths of the hellfire.
Right.
So this is, how the Shaykh said, like the knowledge cure. This is part of the knowledge cure.
SubhanAllah.
And so this is one characteristic close to hypocrisy. We should not be treacherous. And the last thing that I have is that you should love for your brother what you love for yourself. You wouldn't want somebody to be treacherous with you.
Right.
You want to be able to trust somebody. So you should be trustworthy.
Exactly. You want to be what you want to be yourself, what you want that person to be to you.
Right.
MashaAllah.
And, this topic, we could go a whole lot of ways with this topic. But if you really listen to people, and not only just marriages, but just other relationships. Relationship between communities, relationship between brothers, relationship between blood brothers, blood sisters, mother and father. A lot of times these relationships break down because someone was treacherous. They were not loyal. You betrayed me.
And it's hard to get it back.
I'm your child. Mommy, I'm your daughter. Why you leave me with that man that molested me?
Right.
It's natural for me to trust you. You my mother. Why you leave me out there like that? Betrayal.
Right.
That's betrayal.
And it's hard to come back from that.
Daddy, why you walk away from us? Why you just leave us? I'm your son. I'm your daughter. I trusted you to be there. Why weren't you there? That's betrayal.
SubhanAllah. With that being said, you want to conclude?
Yes, that's our conclusion for this evening, this show. We'd like to thank everyone who tuned in. I pray that this show was beneficial. I pray that everyone that's listening, a lot of times when we hear like negative characteristic, we're like, that's them right there. That's him. Yeah, I know her. She like that. I know him. He like that. I hope, one of the things I hope and pray for tonight's show is that we examine ourselves. Because while I'm talking, I'm thinking about myself. Have I been treacherous to someone? Have I been treacherous? Have I practiced khiyana? And so this is what I hope for everyone that's listening, that we analyze ourselves and our dealings with our husbands, our wives, and other people we've dealt with. And if we have, that we undo what we did.
Right.
And going from this point forward, that we're not like that, in our dealings with other people. Right? Don't always look at somebody else. Look at ourselves.
Right.
You have to analyze ourselves first. So that's my prayer, that when we, as listening to this show and getting into what treachery is, that we examine ourselves and we make an oath to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we will not be treacherous. That's the beginning.
Right.
We can't say, well, everybody else is fake around me. No, start with yourself. I'm not going to be treacherous.
Right.
And I'm not going to tolerate treachery around me. Alhamdulillah. Ameen. Abdul Rakib. That's one of the things I respect about that brother, Abdul Rakib. On several occasions, I heard such and such and such and such about you. And I heard it from such and such and so and so. Is it true? He gave me opportunity to explain. Oh, yeah, this part is true, but that part ain't true. Or it ain't true. Other people just like, like, and I know a whole lot of people knew before he knew. Ain't nobody said nothing. Right? Right?
SubhanAllah.
That's trust right there. A lot of people ain't like that.
Right.
So, you know, the first step with us is that, you know, we have to be trustworthy. And that's the meaning of trustworthy. That's what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was. That's his name, Al-Amin. Al-Amin, the trustworthy. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not treacherous. You could trust him. You know, that, and we always say it, but we don't really think about it. When we talk about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we say he was Al-Amin before he was Rasulullah. He was trustworthy before he was the messenger of Allah. Well, we just finished doing a whole show, an hour and 35 minutes so far, about what the opposite of being Al-Amin is. So, you know, we say it, but do we really think about it? We have to be like that, like Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
To be known to be trustworthy.
Yes.
No matter
And
what.
back in those days, that's when the Muslims in this country I'm talking about had strength.
Right.
Because Muslims had trustworthiness, or another would say it another way, we had integrity.
Right.
If a Muslim was wrong, when he was brought to his attention, he'll admit to it. He don't try to justify being wrong. You know, that's the good old days.
Right now, SubhanAllah, trying to justify everything.
Yeah.
Justify kufr.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah. All right, we want to thank everyone for watching this episode of the Half Your Deen Show. Inshallah, we'll be back next week on Monday, inshallah, with another topic. May Allah bless you and reward you, and may Allah heal you if you're sick. May Allah, you know, give you ease if you're going through a situation, and may Allah give you good in this life as well as the next. Ameen, 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 and ask Allah to protect us from the hellfire. Ameen, ameen, ameen. With that being said, Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk wal asra innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa iyaki nimko. Thank you for listening. Ameen, ameen, ameen.